Hello, everybody, and welcome to the aftermath of AEW Collision. Yes, folks, say it with me. After the collision, we sift through
The Wreckage.
the Wreckage. Brought to you by channelattitude.com. Please subscribe for $5 a month. And the Hameen Media Group. This is the Wreckage. I'm Chris Ambs. I guess for today, I'm Constable Ambs. I am Christopher Ambs. That's AMBS, like lambs with no L or bullshit first thing in the morning. Don't worry, folks. If you ever forget how to spell my last name, I'll just fucking remind you at the beginning of every show. Joining me is my usually unusual co-host with the most from the Port Phillip Coast. I'm tired today, Jimmy, and I don't want to rhyme, but we got shit to do, and it's fucking prime time. Jimmy T. Posi say, Philos.
Very good yourself, Chris.
Yeah, I'm holding in.
Oh.
I'm all
By
right.
the way, it's Detective T for tonight.
Detective T. Yes.
Yeah, sounds like a T, literally.
It does. It sounds like the kind of tea that you would get like in the middle of England where they're like, they've got like 18 different types of tea and they all basically taste exactly the same, but they think they're different because the English are fucking crazy people about their tea.
Fucking tea drinkers. And there's Chabella Veracruz, by the way, the professor saying rename Wreckage to Punkage.
What's
Or
up?
Punked. Should be punked from now on, shouldn't it?
Oy vey. I got, since Prof is here, and he probably didn't hear me give him a shout out the last time I did, which was a few episodes ago. But I gotta say, man, that most recent What If episode that they did about Shane McMahon buying WCW was, that was a fucking awesome episode, dude. That entertained me for a while when I was out driving the truck. Good job.
Well, there's another one coming tonight, just so you know.
Right on. Well, I'm looking forward to it. There you go. See, I'm plugging things just at the right fucking time. Yes.
Shout outs to the prof.
Shout outs to Professor. Yeah. Well, Jimmy,
God damn it.
there's some news.
I wonder what that is. I mean, talking about sifting through wreckage, I mean, it's our job to sift through this fucking wreckage, dude.
Motherfucker, dude. Yeah.
Speechless.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of children working amongst men, apparently.
Oh man, you talk about childishness. Like, I watched that video, so I guess like we're gonna just get right into the show because it's part of the show. They made it part of the show, right? It was the first fucking thing we saw tonight was Tony fucking Khan saying that
today I made the decision to release Phil Brooks, CM Punk, from his contract for a cause. I did this after my lawyers took about a week to make sure that I could fire him legally, and that I wouldn't get in trouble for it or lose any of my money. So, also the reason why I did it was because there was a fight happening somewhere near me and I feared for my life and for the safety of those involved. Like, get fucked, man. Get like this situation, like him fucking talking, and then like I don't know if you've seen like the videos of him doing this live in Chicago.
Absolutely, I have.
Oh my god, Chicago just ate him alive. He got "You're a pussy" chants going, and it's his fucking
dude.
company. Like
You
the
know what
owner
else?
of the company got "You're a pussy" chanted at him. Oh,
Dude, even the way people were screaming, shut the fuck up.
Oh.
All you hear, right, is everyone's boo, and then just suddenly, hey, shut the fuck up, and then another dude, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, it's coming in stereo, dude. Like, from every fucking angle, and I'm like, yo. And speaking of yo, Jimbo, what's going
Yo,
on,
Jimbo.
bro? Yo, what's cracking?
Bienvenido, bienvenue, and welcome.
From one J to another.
Yeah. Also, willkommen. How do you say welcome in Greek?
Welcome in Greek is Yasul.
Okay, well, there you go. You've gotten welcomed in like 5 different languages already. This is the kind of amazing shit that happens on the Wreckage. Yeah, but bro, I don't like when I saw him say, "Okay, I've released CM Punk." It was like, okay, I think it's the wrong decision. I really do. I think it's the wrong decision. I think the right decision would be to restructure the company based around professionals instead of, your friends. But hey, it's your money. It's your billions of dollars. You do whatever the fuck you want with it. I
Dude,
really
he
fine.
was in danger of his life. He was
I
fearing
that
of death.
bro,
Remember that?
that like come on, like I was in fear of my life because there was violence happening somewhat near me. This is exactly why, and I have said this for a while now, Jimmy. Do you know what's honestly missing for most men in today's society?
Testosterone.
Well, okay, fair enough. But no, like
Balls.
honestly, what most men, I honestly believe, they need to get punched in the face once
Oh, wow.
every
That's true.
6 months or so.
I
Just
mean, shit.
I don't even mean like in a
Dude.
violent, evil way where somebody's trying to beat the shit out of you. Go to a boxing gym. Tell somebody, hey, listen, I want to get in the boxing gym for just a couple minutes. Punch me in the face a few times. Do that once every 6 months, and I guarantee you, we would have less of this shit.
Well, it's funny,
I
dude.
feared for my life because there was violence happening somewhat near me. Fuck
Yes.
off.
He was fearing his life. And speaking of 6 months, every 6 months, it was about 6 months ago where I got punched. Funny enough. Remember that?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, motherfucker.
Well, and did you
Anyway,
die?
no, of course not.
No,
I'm not scared. I'm not scared to go out.
and how scared exactly you're actually. I really believe this. Okay, I really believe this as a principle, Jimmy. I believe that if you've ever been in a fist fight in your life, you are less scared than if you haven't
Well,
been.
there have been people out there that have gotten PTSD over just one incident, bro. I
Okay,
mean,
and
I've been
those
punched
people
a million times in my fucking years.
those people are what we like to call weak cunts,
We
because
can't, yes.
those motherfuckers seriously don't need to be part of a reproductive system anymore. We don't need more of them, okay? If you feared for your life because
feared.
somebody else was fighting somewhat near your direction, you don't need to have kids. Like, we don't need to live in a world where you continue to produce.
Well, the good news is he hasn't produced, thank fuck. But apparently Punk did lay hands on TK. So that's apparently the word on the street. Yeah.
Okay.
And if that's the case,
My point
I mean-
stands. My point stands. You should get punched in the face once every 6 months so that you know you're not made of glass and that it won't fucking kill you to get punched in the face. It's okay. It's all right.
well, I think he's exaggerating anyway. I don't think he even got punched in the face. I think Punk got hot. You know, people trying to break him up. You know what I mean? Apparently, that's when Joe grabbed Punk aside while he was losing his shit to fucking TK. He's screaming out, "I quit. No, you're fired," it seems, instead. And you know what I don't understand, right? This idiot named Tony, right? I know T's are the thing for tonight, right? It's the T show, literally. But, dude, this guy has no idea what the hell he's doing in anything, bro. I mean, who the hell was this committee? And I'm hearing rumors that Aubrey Edwards was one of them.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
quietly.
I'm sure. Yeah. It was Aubrey Edwards and Kenny Omega and Mark
The
Jackson and
And oh, sorry, you're right. Marks.
Mark and Mark Jackson. So here's the thing. I'm gonna go over everything that happened this last week to CM Punk, and you tell me if it's not Tony Khan's fault for not putting his fucking foot down before any of this shit happened. Okay.
Oh no, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. But-
So first of all, the first thing that we heard happened was that there was a meeting set up. It was supposed to take place with the Elite and CM Punk. They were supposed to come together, figure things out, bury the fucking hatchet, and move forward. Right?
supposedly,
that was
apparently.
supposed to happen,
Right.
and then the Elite said, "No, we're not doing it."
Wow. Well, apparently your Jimbo says in the chat, by the way, committees Aubrey, Christopher Daniels, and Tony Schiavone. Apparently.
Oh, yeah, right. Because Christopher Daniels is going to be perfectly impartial to the guy who kicked him out of fucking Collision. Come on.
Well, he's a talent relations guy. I mean,
Yeah, right. We're gonna, CM Punk. We're gonna make a committee, and that committee is gonna be Mark Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Kenny Omega, and they're going to impartially decide. Get the fuck out of here.
But anyway, continue on about the events, and I'll tell you what I think.
All right, so the Elite basically canceled that meeting and said, no, we're not going to do that. So CM Punk's probably already pretty hot because he's like, fuck, man. He's been saying since the fucking incident happened, basically, listen, I want to move on. I want to be able to move on. I want to do business even, right? He wants to do business. He wants to be able to move forward. They said, no, we're not having this meeting anymore. Okay, fine.
Right.
CM Punk then is reading on Twitter as the travel coordinator for his company likes a tweet that basically says fuck CM Punk. So great. Much happier now after I read that. Then he gets to London, tries the number that he's been given from the travel coordinator, and there's no answer. It's the wrong fucking number. So he's stuck in London by himself with no travel. So now he gets on the fucking tube to try to find the fucking arena. He's going all over London trying to figure out where he's going. Oh, there. I'll get to you in a second there. So he's lost in London. Some fans fucking tell him how to get there. He finally gets to the show. He gets to the show. So at this point, he's been told, all right, we're gonna have a meeting with the Elite. All right, the Elite have canceled the meeting. We're not going to do that anymore. The travel coordinator has liked a tweet that says, you suck. You've gotten to London and the travel coordinator fucked up your travel. You finally get to the arena and you walk up to the monitor getting ready for your match. And there's Jack Perry talking shit about you on live television in a situation where he thinks he's going to be able to just get away with it because, hey, why wouldn't I get over on a guy who's the biggest name in the sport and be able to get away with it, right? Does everybody remember when S.A. Rios came out on Sunday Night Heat and talked shit about Stone Cold Steve Austin and then didn't have anything happen to him? Does everybody remember that? No? Okay. Well, that's because it would never have fucking happened. So if you're CM Punk, let me just say, like, I understand the people saying, all right, CM Punk, it's unprofessional, et cetera, et cetera. We don't know exactly what happened, and we don't. But if you've already had all of this shit happen to you, I can understand a Phil Brooks being like, you know what? I don't even fucking want to be here anymore. Fuck this place. So honestly and legitimately, and I do not care about, like, anybody else can argue whatever they want. All of this comes down to Tony Khan not fucking putting his foot down, okay? Right at the beginning of this fucking week, when they had a meeting scheduled with the Elite, and then the Elite said, no, we're not going to do it. Tony Khan should have put his foot down and said, you are going to fucking do it. You're going to be at that motherfucking meeting now. You're going to the fucking meeting. Okay, right. We're going to sit down. We're going to hash this shit out because my fucking EVPs, my good buddies who I pretend I started the company with, even though all of the money was mine, these guys are going to sit down with my biggest star, the biggest merch seller, the biggest name that I have. They're going to sit the fuck down. You guys are going to come to some kind of a fucking conclusion. I don't care if it takes you 3 fucking nights. I'll keep ordering pizza. You're going to figure it out. Figure it the fuck out, guys. Okay? Now, after that happened, when I see that my travel coordinator is on fucking social media liking a post basically saying that my biggest star, the biggest merch seller, the biggest name that I have in my company is a piece of shit and I hate him, guess what happens to my travel coordinator? You're fired. I can get somebody fucking else. Your job is not some impossible fucking thing that nobody in the world has ever figured out before or could ever possibly figure out. You're a travel coordinator. You are not a fucking god. You're not making me money. You're not bringing eyes to my product. You are not worth anything to me if you're pissing off my biggest fucking draw. You're fired. You're gone. So as soon as CM Punk finally does show up to London, I say, Phil, listen. Okay? Listen, Phil. I understand what happened, and I am so fucking sorry. I am going to figure out a way to make it up to you, but just so we're aware, that fucking guy is fired. He's gone. Right now, he's gone. We don't have to fucking deal with that guy no more, okay? I do the Vince McMahon after that pyro guy set the Undertaker on fire. You're fired before you're even back. Before I even fucking see you back from the curtain, that guy's already fired, okay? All right, Mark? All right, Mark? That guy's fired, okay? And then, if I'm watching and I see Jungle Boy talk some fucking shit, the second he comes back, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm snatching him by his fucking hair and being like, listen, you little fucking prick. And I'm making sure that Phil's there to see it, right? Listen, you little fucking prick. This is not the way we fucking do business. If we had something set up between you and Phil for the future, I understand that you're trying to get heat moving into a program. But if you're just trying to get yourself over on somebody who's at 18 levels above you in the fucking pecking order, the answer is fuck no, you can't do that on national TV, you little fucking shithead.
Oh, you're spot on, and that was well put, actually, Chris. But before we continue, let's introduce our other co-host.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Vet. The Vet, ladies and gentlemen, he asked if there was room, and my answer was, and always will be, there is always room for you on any show that I'm doing, Vet. If I have to leave so that you have room on a show that I'm doing, you are more than welcome to my spot. Vet, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Wreckage.
Yeah, give me a chair, kid. No, but thank you very much. You'd never have to leave because I probably wouldn't want to do the show if you weren't on it. No offense, Jimmy, but we've done a lot of shows.
Thanks.
Yeah. Interesting. So I guess I walked in on the middle of something. Why did something happen over the weekend? I'm not sure if there was
Nothing at all.
No significant news or anything like that. Basically, the too long didn't read version of what you were saying is, we had the bears at the zoo. Okay, and someone jumped into the bear pit and started poking it. And they've been doing it for about, I don't know, how long? A year?
Fuck.
And then the bear mauls the person who jumped in the pit. And then they have to put the bear down in the bear pit. Don't even give it a chance. We just got to take him down. I'm sorry, we got to put you down. That's basically what ended up happening here, right? I mean, do I basically have that?
This is facts. This is facts being spit at your earlobes, at your eye holes if you're watching. Facts.
Yeah.
Right. And it would work too. Like they knew it would work because look who we're talking about.
Right. It's true. You're right, actually. And do you think is there some sort of conspiracy here at all, Vet?
Well, yeah, to a degree. I mean, I'm sure that they thought that storming into his locker room a year ago would have been enough to get him fired, and it just didn't work out the way they wanted. So they just had to bide their time.
Wow.
I mean, that's basically what it seems like to me, conspiracy wise. But, but yeah, I mean, that's essentially what you've done here is you set it up and you got the result that you wanted, the result that you always wanted. And now where Punk is wrong is he should have seen that. He gave them exactly what they wanted. And he should have known better because he doesn't seem like the kind of guy. I notice a lot of parallels between he and I. And I don't want to get into like a whole other separate thing and make the show longer, whatever. So like I try to look through like my lens to try to figure out what he thinks. And I'm pretty sure that he should have seen it coming, but I can also see how, dude, you are on top of everything. The story that Chris said, you got to also remember for the guys that haven't been, in a position to go out in front of a crowd and have a match or things like that. When you're psyching yourself up, you are jacked on adrenaline. You know? So you're sitting there waiting your turn, and this fucking kid comes back and purposely starts shit with you, who he's jacked up on adrenaline too. That adrenaline wouldn't have gone down until whatever in the wee hours of the morning when he was in his hotel room. So Perry's jacked up on adrenaline, Punk's jacked up on adrenaline or getting there, and you have this combustible element right there. It's easy to say he should have known better and not fell for it. But goddamn, like in that situation, and someone gets in your face, you just, after everything, it didn't start that day. It didn't even start with the travel coordinator or it didn't start with that. It started with Hangman Page going into business for himself on live TV, and that's where it started. And it's been building and piling upon since then. So could he have handled things better? Of course he could have. And he said that. If you remember when he came back, he said that publicly. He also made sure to say that he reached out to everybody and nobody was having it, so that he's got all his bases covered. But eventually they got what they wanted. So here we are.
Wow.
Yep.
When you put it like that, Vet, it sounds even more crazy because it just does feel like a total setup. But let's be honest, you say about the adrenaline with Punk. I mean, it all started from when he got off the plane. He had to get a train to his hotel because his pickup guy wasn't there. I mean, and apparently the number didn't work. It wasn't even the right number.
Right.
So I would have already been pissed just walking into the building as it was. So I don't blame him losing his shit. But you're right. He should have known better, especially considering he's a vet. And he just should have known, because everyone's just poking the bear. Like you said, Vet, they kept poking, and he kept biting. And why? I have no idea. But then again, maybe he wanted to get fired. I mean, there's also rumors about that.
Think about it this way. See, one of the funny things about this is that Punk had to be dragged out of retirement.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of aspects of the story that get caught up because we're focusing on what the most recent thing is. But the way you hear the story told is that it took years of hey, come on, let's talk about this and stuff. Deal making with Tony, calling Punk personally and trying to sell him on the idea, of coming out of retirement to do something. And, that appealing to, well, I don't know what Tony appealed to, but I can see a guy like Punk's like, well, I don't need to do anything else in this business. I've already got to the top of the business. So, but I can give back. I can do something like be a player coach. His fucking Twitter handle's coach, right?
Yeah.
And then didn't he change it to player coach when he came back or something like that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I didn't even think about that till after I said it. But yeah. So you again, trying to think the way I would think or what I would feel if I was in those situations. I never would have showed my face ever again personally. Like if I got toasted 2 times in UFC in front of the world, I would never show my face in public again. But that's just me. Like, you can't go back to fake fighting after real fighting, but that's me. So I never thought he would do it. He eventually did it. He came back, He seemed like he wanted to help. He didn't seem like he was there for a paycheck. He was basically doing everything but, carrying guys' bags for him. He did commentary. He did matches. He did promos. He did whatever was needed. And he seemed like he wanted to be a team player. And, him getting over, probably, the people that didn't want him there, they wanted to get rid of him as soon as possible because, a real wrestler showed up and they don't like that. So there you go.
That is exactly my feelings on the subject. Is basically a real wrestler showed up and everybody backstage went, well, I mean, I main evented the Tokyo Dome, so I mean, who cares? Like that kind of bitchiness is exactly the kind of fucking energy I've felt from the Elite and from that whole California crew ever since Punk showed up. It was, well, I mean, he's not selling that much merchandise. And it's like, yeah, he is, you fucking tool. Like, he's an actual draw in the world of professional wrestling. Unlike 99% of the fucking company. Like,
and by the way, the only guy that did main event the Tokyo Dome is probably the guy that would have had the least problem with it in the first place.
Yeah.
It's the other guys that could never.
Yeah, I think that Kenny would have. I think that Kenny would have buried the hatchet if it wasn't for Mark and Mark Jackson Yeah.
I love that. But by the way, I did go to his Twitter. I'm talking about CM Punk's Twitter a bit earlier, and ironically, he's deleted a shitload of posts, especially since his return. Everything is just gone.
Can we highlight something? And I actually want to ask Vet about this. So, the artist returns, not the last one, but the one where he said a player
This
coach.
The
guy.
last one.
Not the last one, but the one before that. A player coach. However, being a good player coach requires the ability to work with everyone nicely in the sandbox. No, it fucking doesn't. Sometimes being a good player coach requires you to tell some of your fucking players, hey, you know how you were out until 3 o'clock in the morning at the fucking strip club? You're not fucking doing that again, you shithead. That's sometimes what it's required as a leader on a fucking team. You have to be able to put your foot down, and it's the requirement. If you're Tony, you've brought CM Punk back. You've basically told him you want him as a player coach. You want him to help. You want him to bring everybody up and elevate them. You've like, that's the thing, is Tony basically brings CM Punk in. He says, okay, I want you to be a player coach. I want you to help. I want you to fix things up. I want you to do what you're going to do to make us more successful, CM Punk. Then he does, and then everybody gets fucking bitchy at him because he's come in and he's going, well, this is wrong. This thing that we're doing is wrong and it's stupid and we shouldn't do it. No, we shouldn't take an actual fucking glass and smash it over your head on live TV, because that kind of glass shatters and can go everywhere and might get in your fucking eyeballs, you dipshit. No. And then everybody's going, well, why does CM Punk feel like he can say that? Because he's been told he can by the fucking guy who owns the goddamn company.
But see, there's the problem though, Chris, because the guy that owns the actual company, I'm assuming, is also like yesing to what Jungle Boy wanted to do, for example, right? With the real glass.
Yeah.
Well, allegedly, he was told no several times by people before Punk even got to the building. So
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true,
really?
but if it is, it sounds true. I mean, you know.
What was told to me was that he was told no by a number of people, including Tony Schiavone, who then, when Punk showed up to the building, went to Punk and said, listen, we can't get him to fuck off about this glass thing. Can you talk to him?
Is that what apparently happened? Really?
So yes, that's what apparently happened. And so think about that. Now remember, this is Punk's show, right? So
Supposedly.
So if Jungle Boy is on this show and he hasn't been sent home, you know, like a Christopher Daniels or a Matt Hardy or somebody else that tried to show up, which obviously Tony also has to sign off on if Punk is going to have people sent home, right? Like, you don't just get to make those decisions. So Tony has to be, you know, complicit in that. Then obviously that means that Punk wanted you there because he saw something in you, because this is kind of his roster and it's the people that he wants to work with. So getting the invitation to be on the show, you know, Jungle Boy probably was kind of over and looked at as a project. Like, okay, I could do something with this kid too. I want to help the kid, you know. And then this is how, you know, this is what we get. But it is interesting though that that the comment came from the artist, because I was assured by the artist that this was all a work. Like, it's been a work since Brawl Out, right? So it's just a work. Like, we're all just getting worked. So don't worry, artist. I mean, we don't have to worry about who's a good player, coach, or anything like that. This is all a work. It's been a work. You know, I've been assured by him. I've been assured by Ben Hameen, Timmy Baltimore,
And
several
Ben,
other
too.
people in the chat. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's a work. So don't worry, guys. Like, this is all going to come back together when he shows up at All Out and Jack Perry shows up at All Out tonight, and the fireworks will explode.
Jesus Christ. Well, all three of us don't think that way, that's for sure.
No, and I did at first. Like, when the
You
Brawl
did,
Out
that's
thing
true.
happened,
You did,
the
you
first
did.
thing I thought was, this can't be real.
I
These
always
guys
said
are
this was a
these
shoot
guys are
from the
working
start.
these guys are working the fans, and it's going to turn into something. But I mean, it didn't take very long. Within about 2 weeks, I was like, oh no, this company really is this poorly managed. Okay, no, this really is this bad. Okay.
Well, you see what happens when they book angles and they try to work. Like, you see how those go. You know, why would you put your effort towards something you know, and do it this well when everything else you do on your television, which, by the way, as a side note, like, I don't want to see any more backstage fighting. I don't want to see any more kidnappings. I don't want to see any more home invasions. If we're not allowed to get into a little bit of fisticuffs amongst employees, then I don't want to see any more angles built around that. Because everybody in AEW through storyline means should be fired with cause by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
Top to bottom.
Plus, for anyone that thinks it's a work, AEW are not. They don't think that deeply. They can't come up with something that good.
Yeah.
They just can't. So
No.
that's why.
If this was a work, then I'm willing to say that it might be like one of the best works ever. Like, it might be one of the most like deeply written, like most like intelligently planned out works of all time. And does that actually sound like something that is capable of happening from AEW? Because
No
if
chance.
you've been watching the product,
And we've given them the
No.
benefit of the doubt in the past, Chris, where we think just maybe they're going this way, but we're always wrong when we think that way. So, you know what I mean?
Always. And this company gets 5% out of everything that they do. If they have a good idea, they get 5% of the value that's there on the table, and the 95% just goes off into nothingness while their fans online about how wonderful that triple back-to-back Canadian Destroyer spot was.
Oh my
Fuck.
God. Let's not even go there.
So
bringing up Nick West.
That's yes.
yeah, that's crazy. I can't imagine how that happened. All right, so Vet, one other thing that I wanted to ask you about specifically before we get into Collision, actually,
Sure.
because we do have to cover Collision. That's what we do on this show. But I wanted to ask you about something. So you've been a professional wrestler. You understand that there are levels in the locker room, right? Like, if you're brand new, right, versus you're, the Hulk Hogan of the locker room, there are certain things that you have to abide by, right? Depending on where you are in the pecking order. There is a pecking order in a professional wrestling locker room. Am I right?
Usually.
Okay. So if you're like, because I've seen people say, oh, why did CM Punk even have to say anything to him just because he called him out? And it's like, bro, you don't get professional wrestling if you think it's okay for a Jungle Jack Perry to publicly on national television call out CM Punk. Those guys are on vastly different levels, right?
Well, before you continue, I just got to say one thing because you brought up a good point. I have to say before I forget. There's a video floating around on YouTube where they were in the UK just before Wembley, right? Just to do it's like some sort of convention. This was probably about a month and a half ago. And Jungle Boy was in the ring. And they asked him about if he wanted to work with Punk. And to say awkward is an understatement. He just stopped, paused, and he was getting upset. And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Clearly stating to me that he just doesn't like the guy. And this seems to stem back a little further back than we even realize.
And
well, who
what
are his
happened
friends?
Well,
Right,
and
exactly.
but what happened to, okay, I don't like the guy. All right, like if I was a professional wrestler and fucking, like if I'm Billy Kidman in WCW circa 2000 and someone says, hey, we're going to have you working with Hulk, even if I fucking hate Hulk, even if Hulk is the last fucking person in the world that I would ever want to have a beer with, my reaction is, fuck yeah, baby, break out the red panties. I'm working with Hulk Hogan. Like, no? Is this, am I so fucking old that I still just remember when professional wrestlers were A, men, and B, business minded? Like, what the fuck? Everyone's a mark?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're out of the preferred demo, Chris. I'm sorry.
Fuck me, dude. Like,
I think you're only drawing a .06 in the demo for guys that know about wrestling. So sorry.
holy fuck, man.
No, I don't know. I could not hazard a guess as to what Jack Perry, what's going through his head at any given time. Not much, apparently, but I just want to know, like, that's to your point of, like, not only just right now, you're talking about levels and pecking orders and stuff. Not even just in the moment of, 2023, but in all time. Like I said before, the last time I had to talk about this kid, Jack Perry will be a footnote in wrestling when all was said and done, if that, and only because he had a famous daddy. If somebody that looked like him tried to be a wrestler, even amongst guys that are all too small and too uncharismatic to be in it, he's still like at either the bottom of the middle or the top of the bottom. So like, if I'll be in the front row if I survive long enough to see Jack Perry be honored at the Cauliflower Alley Club, with the Mike Mazurki Award. I'll be right there with a ticket and a big donation and everything. Somehow I don't think that's going to happen. I won't have to worry about it. I'll also probably die before that happens.
Safe.
But I'm just, like, that's the difference in who we're talking about here. Who we're like, what we're dealing with here. So you can, Punk can be wrong. Jack Perry can be wrong. I mean, they all could be wrong together. Tony Khan can be wrong. Everybody can be wrong. But, these kind of things used to get dealt with in a certain way in the past. And whether that was right or wrong, that's just how it was. The locker room tended to police itself. You shouldn't have to ask the promoter to step in. But this is where we're at now. So
Right.
You're going to get more Jack Perrys in the future than Punks in the future.
Yep. Can we highlight Jinder Mahal's last comment there, Jimmy? Sorry, I would, but I don't. This is the HMG feed. I don't have powers here. Even though I'm the host and it's my show. Just kidding.
Anyway.
I'm just
Cry me a river, Chris.
I'm just fucking around. I do. I just don't sign in properly because it doesn't
That's
matter.
I was
It's
gonna
complicated.
say that, right? And I thought, fuck it.
So Jinder Mahal said no locker room leaders, and that's sad with vets they have. It's not that there's no locker room leaders. There are locker room leaders. The problem is that those locker room leaders aren't given the support that they need from the fucking owner. We heard from lots of people, like right from the beginning. We had JR saying, like, listen, I don't understand why these guys stand around like a bunch of quails waiting for them to dive on them and stuff like that. I don't understand that. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think, to me and my the way that I understand professional wrestling, that's not something that we do, Like,
Jesus.
Why is everything golden?
And why is everything like this?
So, like, we had that. And then the next thing that we saw was Brandon fucking Cutler talking shit about JR's take on it. Brandon fucking Cutler should have been fired, okay? Because that guy brings zero to your professional
Why do you think he's not? And why do you think he's not? Okay, so, but this is something, Jimmy, you and Media M5 did the Monday Night Machismo.
Yes. That's
and
right, yeah.
he said on there, totally great point. This is pretty much exactly what Mark Henry claimed he was there to do.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So Punk should have just been like, as Punk's backstage warming up, getting ready to tear it up with Samoa Joe, he should have said, "Hey Mark, can you grab this kid up for me? I'm busy." Like that's what it should have been.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what it should have been.
Yep.
But instead it isn't. So what are they doing? What are they doing there?
And that's exactly the question that I had. Like this is what I said on the skirmish this week. Or maybe it wasn't the skirmish. Maybe it was. I don't remember. I remember where the fuck I said it. I talk so much now about professional wrestling somehow. But I said, like, this company needs to figure out what they want to do. Okay, it's not about making money. What is it about? Like, is it about the art? Is it they're trying to put out the best possible professional wrestling product and the money's secondary? That's fine, but then give me really good professional wrestling. All that they seem to be wanting is what they already have. There's no goal for this company. It's just, what's your goal with this company? I want to own a company where there are wrestlers and I can hang out with wrestlers.
Yep. Well, goal achieved. Day one.
Goal achieved. That's it. That's it. We're done. We're done. Okay, we did everything we want. Throw the fucking parade. We've achieved our goal. That is fucking asinine shit to me. That is so goddamn childish. And not just childish, it's empty, bro. Like, just as on a human level. If you don't have a goal on a human level, life is fucking depressing, bro. You got to have something you're aiming at, something. But this company, it's just, no, we already have, what do you mean goals? My goal was to own a wrestling company and then employ my friends. That's it. That was my goal.
Yep.
I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Well, I will give Tony this. Here's why I can't be mad at it, even if that's the case. Because Tony's running his own Cauliflower Alley Club. He's raising money. He's raising an obscene amount of money for plenty of wrestlers that have no other means of income. So, in that sense, he's running a charity. Now, does everybody deserve all the charity? No. But I'm happy for the people that do deserve it. I'm happy for the people that I know that he's given jobs and have given them a platform and stuff like that. And normally, I would say it's all worth it, for that. But situations like this are unfortunate and could be avoided, and that's really the shame of it. I mean, for us, at least speaking for myself, the only way this really impacts me is that's just one less interesting person I watch per week. Like now I don't get to have a decent match or a decent promo or something like that. So I've lost out on that little bit, and in the a la carte fashion in which I always talk about watching wrestling and enjoying wrestling, that does make a significant impact. Losing one entertaining wrestler makes a huge difference to me, who, can only count on like two hands how many there are. So from a percentage standpoint, that's very disappointing. But ultimately, what I think isn't really that important. I just think that now that, like Chris said, goal achieved for, being a wrestling promoter, and now for the wrestlers that he brought in to be his EVPs, goal achieved. You cut out your cancer. So let's see if you can heal this sick body back and start doing some real business.
And
I was gonna do the tell me if I'm telling lies.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck,
but
man.
unfortunately it wasn't. It was more than that, so it's not worth it.
Yeah. Listen, to me, I think that Vet really hit the nail on the head with, everything he said, but a lot there, like, especially that, we're just missing somebody now who, like, in a world of professional wrestling, where I honestly feel like there's less and less good professional wrestling in the world. Like, there's a way more wrestling, which, hey, I'm glad for the people who have jobs. I don't want this company to shut down. I don't want anything like that. Okay. I want everybody to have jobs, get paid, make as much money as they possibly can at what they love. The thing is like, it gets hard as fuck to watch. Like, Dynamite has gotten harder since Collision started to watch. And it's gotten harder because it seemed to me like everybody who was on Dynamite, who was part of that crew saying, can we not do back-to-back-to-back Canadian Destroyers? That's not really good professional wrestling, and we should try to do wrestling properly. It seems like all of those fucking people were like, why don't you just go to Saturday? Why don't you just go to Wreckage and just leave us alone and let us do whatever we want? Let us do our back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back Canadian Destroyers. You go over there and we'll do our stuff. So to me, Dynamite has gotten so much worse in the last 2 months. And now what I'm really worried about is that we're going to get 2 hours of Dynamite where it's back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back Canadian Destroyers. And then we're going to get an hour and 45 minutes of back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back Canadian Destroyers and 15 minutes of Jay White, which will be wonderful. But that's a lot of shit to fucking wait around for to get to something good.
Yeah, and that's now, you watch, Collision's going to start suffering badly if Punk is not around. Right, and look, I'm not going to say it was a bad show, right? It wasn't that bad. I don't think it was the worst show, but it will get weaker and weaker as the weeks go by. And the more that Punk is not around and guys like him, we're screwed. And we have to review these damn shows. So, yeah, man.
All I know is Petey Williams owes me an apology at this point. I don't-
Jeez. I think everyone owes Petey a friggin' apology just for spamming that damn move.
I think that's probably true enough. But the fact that Petey called it that, and I am now associated with nonsense like that bothers me. So, yeah. I guess let's get into the show, guys. We start off after this, Tony Khan fearing for his life nonsense.
Now wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. This guy said he used to go to ECW shows back in the 2300 arena. There's no way he didn't fear for his life more then than he did last week.
Yeah. And the thing is bro, like I said this at the start before you joined. I really honestly feel this way, that every man, like every adult male, should be punched in the face once every 6 months. I don't mean like somebody should just walk up and punch you. I mean, know that it's coming, right? Know that it's coming. Have your friend walk up and punch you in the face, right? Or go to a boxing gym once every 6 months and just say, hey, I want to spar for 2 minutes. Because there's something I feel is very missing from modern era men, and that's the knowledge that if I get punched in the face, I'm not going to die. Okay, I'm not made of glass. I can take a punch in the face and life will go on. I'll be able to walk out of this gym and I'll be just fine if I get punched in the face once. Because when you've got people like Tony Khan saying that you fired a guy for cause because 12 feet away from you he was fighting someone else and you feared for your life, man, like really? You were afraid for your life? I'm not even going to argue with you about how fucking dumb that is, but bro, I feel sorry for you if you are so weak and so afraid that you actually thought that your life was in danger because 2 other grown men were having a scuffle 12 feet away from you.
Well, apparently he did get sort of charged on by Punk also. There are reports, Chris.
There are reports that CM Punk fucked his mother in front of him. It doesn't matter what's reported on the internet.
Jeez.
Prove it or it's bullshit.
Well, then, but that's it. We're speculating with everything, though. At the end of the day, we're just assuming we know what exactly
I'm not speculating
happened.
that Tony Khan said that he feared for his
No,
life
well,
and
that's
the life
true.
of
That's
the
true.
life of everyone backstage because CM Punk was having a fucking push fight with Jack Perry. He feared for the life of everyone backstage. Yeah, we're going to remember that crazy moment when CM Punk put 81,000 people's lives in danger because he pushed Jack Perry. Fuck off.
Well, look, before we do get into Collision, I will say this. I do think we're going to get court cases coming up soon. It's clear because of his social media thread by deleting everything. Apparently there is video footage of the incident, and if there is, I guess it's going to be played in court, and maybe we will end up seeing it eventually. But ultimately, you can blame Punk, you can blame Jungle Boy, you can blame the Elite. It still goes back to
I blame
TK,
Tony
man.
Khan.
That's
I blame
it.
Tony Khan. With every fiber of my being, it is Tony Khan's fault.
It is totally Tony Khan's fault because he could have, nabbed it in the butt a long time ago, but instead, and Vet, I don't know if you saw this, but a couple of weeks ago, he did an interview with some, I don't know who it was, man. I just read the transcript. But
that's a problem too. He's doing an interview with people you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Really? I have no idea who these guys were. But anyway,
it makes the company seem small time.
Well, that's him, right? He's small time, let's be honest. But he said himself, Vet, that he doesn't mind all the bullshit that goes on in the back. And in fact, he thinks it's good for the company at times to have that type of shit going on. I mean, did you read that? That's what he actually said.
No, but I don't have to. I already know what the situation is. I got a read on, basically the whole situation. So I get it. He didn't want to fire Punk. He's not scared for his life. He shouldn't have go out there and say that on TV, but he did, but that's not how he felt. He's just saying whatever he thought he needed to say about the situation to appease the people that forced his hand. So there you go. That's ultimately it. And he's a guy that seems like he'll say whatever he needs to say to whoever he needs to say it to in the moment, and just to get things to move on. Or he'll try to avoid the situation entirely or whatever. But, you know, don't think for a second he was truly afraid. I just think that's a weird thing to say and to admit in public.
Weird, all right. But he's the type of guy that does this. La, 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 la. Pretends he's not even hearing it or seeing it until it's too late. And this is what we get.
He only does that when no one's looking at him, though, Jimmy. If you were just the guy who fucking plugged your ears and said, I don't want to hear it, there's at least a little bit of respect there because, hey, I don't like listening to people a lot either. But that's not even what Vet's saying. Tony Khan isn't even the person who plugs his ears. He's the person who looks at two people are arguing. Tony Khan will be in the middle, and he'll be looking at one person, and while he's looking at them, he's going, I agree with you. You're absolutely right. Totally. Yes, I 100% think that you're correct. And then as soon as he's looking in the other direction, yes, I 100% agree with what you're saying. You're totally right. This guy's full of shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You're totally right. And then turn back again the other way. No, you're absolutely correct about this, sir, because he absolutely does not have any testicular fortitude of his own.
That's why I said
he's got none.
When shit happens, he just wants to ignore it until he's fearing for his life.
Fearing for his life. That one's gonna follow him. That phrase is gonna follow him around. Fearing for your life. And listen, shit. Vince Russo came out and had a tweet where he said, you know, like, listen, man, listen, bro. I've been involved in professional wrestling for a very long time. And at one point, I actually thought that Luna Vachon might kill me because she was trying to beat up Sonny, right? Yeah. But you know what happened the next day? Luna showed up, and I said, good morning, Luna. And everything just went on the way that it fucking did because that's how it is, right? And then Jim Cornette put out something that said, listen, I've been involved in professional wrestling for 50 fucking years, and I've never heard somebody so full of shit as when this fucking little dipshit said that he feared for his life. So allow me to just lay this out for you, okay? If Jim Cornette and Vince Russo both agree that you are an insane little bitch, you are an insane little bitch. That's the end of the story.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the show because we got to fucking get into this show. We begin with a recap.
Now we're going to test your ripping through it skills, Chris.
Oh, fuck. We begin with a recap for All In. Vet, I don't know if you knew this. I know this because I have I have some connections in wrestling. I'm not sure if you have as deep a connection, you know, in the wrestling bubble as I do to know this, but this is top secret. So everybody, you're getting some real backstage information here. Vet, I don't know if you knew, but did you know that 81,000 people were in Wembley?
What? No.
Yeah, you didn't know, bro? Seriously?
It's fucking crazy. It's the craziest
Surely it
thing.
was much less than that. Or more.
No. It was actually 90,000. So 81,000 paid, but the rest were comps. And
That's
all
right.
up was 90,000.
He only comped about 10,000 tickets. That's all.
That's crazy. Wow.
Crazy, right? I mean,
congratulations, guys.
Yeah, way to go.
Thank you.
Anyway, Ricky Starks comes out to discuss his challenge for the strap match. He has challenged Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to a strap match at All Out, which there's no fucking way that's going to happen. Big Bill comes out with them, and I went, yes, good, fantastic, because I actually like this pairing, and I think that if they're consistent with it, it could actually help both guys get over in a big way. So please keep going with that. Ricky says he's tired of having to start over all the time. He's tired of his career always starting and stopping, and you know, that's I really honestly felt when he was cutting this promo that there was some truth to this. You know, here's a guy who had in the back attached himself to Cody Rhodes, and then Cody Rhodes leaves, right? And then he in the back attached himself to CM Punk, and now CM Punk gets fired. I actually think that there was something to this of him saying, I'm really fucking tired of starting and stopping. I think he meant this. I think that was legit.
He was visibly shaken up.
Yeah.
You know, like you could see him out there, like you could see it in his face, you could hear it in his voice, like that's where the reality is coming in. So he's letting it out, and he even used some, veiled language. But if you read between the lines, you see what he's saying. So yeah, it's definitely sucks for Ricky.
In fact, he looked frustrated, right? But last night wasn't the only time he looked frustrated. He's been looking frustrated, to be fair, for the last 5 to 6 weeks, I think, man. And I mean, but I will say this: I thought this was his best promo that he's actually done in probably the last few months. And his promo game's pretty good, but this was passionate.
Because it was real.
And you felt it, and it was real, right? And what he said about Big Bill was great too, man.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Him trying to, put the focus on the other guy in the situation who is, for all intents and purposes, just standing there. That probably wasn't part of the promo, to be honest with you. That probably wasn't something that they expected him to do, and he went out of his way to do that. I think that shows the kind of professional that Ricky Starks has the potential of being, in that he's bothering to use his time to big up someone else on the outside. I think that's good.
Right.
Yeah, we've all seen lots of things with bigger crowds than 81,000. It's fine. It's cool. It really is. Like, it's
90,
great that they had 81,000 people there, but shut the fuck up already. Like, do something else. What's next? Okay, 81,000 people were there, and then 3,000 people were there the next night. Great. That's good. Good job, guys. Good job. Way to go. Anyway, Ricky calls out the dragon, and out comes Ricky Steamboat. And he has a contract, and it's ready for Ricky to sign. And it's for a strap match at the pay-per-view between the Dragon and Ricky Starks.
So it's Ricky versus Ricky?
That's what they're trying to tell Ricky Starks. So Starks signed it, and then Steamboat says, you've known me as a lot of things. You've known me as Ricky. Most people know me as the Dragon, but you also know this man as the Dragon. And the music plays, and out walks Bryan Danielson, only about 2.5 months earlier than his doctors apparently told him he should be coming back from surgery. So,
and you know what's weird, Chris?
Great.
Why was I the only one? But I felt like I didn't care about Bryan Danielson coming out. I don't know why, man. You can still see the scar on his arm, for crying out loud, right?
And we just heard this week. This week we heard that his doctor said he could come back in October.
What's wrong with this guy, Vet? Does he want to kill himself in the ring, man? Like, I just don't understand why Bryan Danielson continues to just, want to work even when he's hurt.
No, he was asked to fill a huge void that just got created all of a sudden. That's why.
That's sad, man.
Don't worry, guys. You could whip a guy with a strap with either hand.
Fuck me, man. This screamed of desperation to me. I'm watching this and I'm going, oh fuck.
Absolutely.
Poor Brian. Poor Brian.
Too.
What the fuck, man? Like, this guy just got a phone call this week that said, listen, hey.
Hi, Brian. It's Tony. Just calling to see if maybe we could figure something out, because we're about to have a real hole in the company here, bud, and whatever you could do, why don't you maybe talk to your doctors and see what you can do, and then get back to me about what's possible.
Wink, wink, wink,
for
wink,
us,
right?
all right?
And I'll make it up to you. I'll make it up to you. Like, fuck, man.
He'd be like, I'll make it up to you, Daniel. I'll pay for the final countdown once again.
Oh, fuck.
That's hell. Jesus. Anyway.
This just reeked of fucking desperation to me. Anyway, yeah, that's going to be the match at the pay-per-view. Fine, I guess. I love Bryan Danielson, and I wish that he would heal up before he came back. And to me, Bryan Danielson is a draw for me. We'll put it that way, right? He's one of, Vet, you talked about there being about, 12 or 13 people in all of professional wrestling that are actually good to watch. That's one of them to me. But I'd like to see him for another 3 years, if possible, instead of 6 more months, because he was forced to come back with a shoulder injury. So
maybe he stopped being that person for me a long time ago.
Me too, man.
As a matter of fact, As a matter of fact, I felt bad that he had to retire early, but ever since his comeback, he hasn't been the same guy, and I don't like his matches.
100% agree with you.
You didn't even like the Captain Planet version in
Nope.
WWE?
Nope, with his little wood belt. Nope, didn't like that. I didn't like his matches anymore. I did not like his matches anymore. Maybe it's because I was looking at it with different eyes from the sense of like, you know, I was happy that he got to come back, but I didn't know if it was what he needed to do. So maybe I was a little more critical of his stuff, but I really do think he changed. It was like he doubled down on all the dangerous stuff that he used to do and forgot how to work.
Yep. 100%.
Like he started having wrestling matches and stopped working. He used to work. There's a match from oh man, if I think of a Bryan Danielson match, I always think of, from his WWE run anyway. I think it was Extreme Rules 2012. He did a 2 out of 3 falls match with Sheamus. When you watch that match, you're like, God damn, he's a working motherfucker. But after that, it's just a lot of like diving out of the ring, a lot of the drop kicks in the corner, like just doing stuff, playing the greatest hits and playing them more. It's like, you know, it'd be like, you guys want Leonard Skinner's like, you want to hear Freebird again? Like, so that's how I've looked at Danielson. Now, did they have to have the match at All Out? No. They could. You could get to All Out, and you could have Big Bill do something where he takes him out of the match, and then Ricky Steamboat actually does have to have the strap match or some shit like that. Like there could be a way to get out of Danielson actually having to have a match this, you know, being back this early. We'll see what they do. But as far as Danielson, like being in the ring and being one of those guys, I would just as soon he hang it up, because he's a family man and he's proven everything he needs to prove. Right. It should be a huge, like not just a tiny red flag, but it should be like a giant Jolly Roger size red flag when you have a match with the safest guy in wrestling and you break your arm. Like, it's time for you to think about seriously hanging it up. If you can't even have a match with Okada without getting hurt, it's time to step away before something really tragic happens.
I'm glad you said that, Brett, because I've been feeling the same way about him. Like I said at the start of this segment, for some reason, I was like, why is he coming out for? It's like I never missed him.
But you know why. You know why. We talked about why.
Right. Exactly. And it's
true. Well, yeah. Okay. I can see it. It's and I get the argument. I don't know if I feel it yet, but I get the argument. This was always my argument about Ric Flair in like the late '90s in WCW. People would, Ric Flair's the greatest of all time. I'm like, yeah, but every time he has a match, I've fucking seen it.
And it's making his prestige go down, like, you know what I mean? He's fucking his legacy by doing that at the time, and that's what Danielson is doing right now. I feel like he's fucking up his own legacy, man, whether he realizes it or doesn't. Yeah.
Well, anyway, hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully everything's okay. And yeah, I mean, listen, if he did say, listen, I'm tired of getting injured and I want to go home and spend time with my fucking kids, good on you, bro. I have nothing against people making that life decision. John Moxley, he really loves Orange Cassidy, guys. He says that you know, I've been in the ring with real tough guys and fake tough guys, and I know Orange Cassidy's like a real tough guy. People say he's a cosplay wrestler, but who's he cosplaying as? You? Blah 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 blah. Shut the fuck up, John. It's so fucking stupid. Like, if you want to say Orange Cassidy is very entertaining, if you want to say, oh, I've seen Orange Cassidy really tough it out over these last few months, okay, fine, that's fine, it's all fine. But you're the heel, and your whole group's entire fucking, you know, thing has been, you're not a serious professional wrestler. You're not serious enough about professional wrestling. You're an amateur, and I'm a real professional wrestler. That's been your whole group's whole thing, and you're telling me that the guy whose gimmick is that he puts his hands in his pockets and is too fucking lazy to do moves with any force? You're telling me that that's a guy who you respect in spite of your gimmick.
He's an agent.
Why?
Now, remember? Or he's a booker, whatever he's doing.
Oh,
It's true. It's true. But anyway, we'll get to that when we do. There's no point in me bringing that up now.
You guys aren't serious about wrestling. Now let me empty an entire Chinese restaurant utensil tray into your head.
Fuck. Fucking hell, man. Yeah. You're not serious enough about wrestling. Hey, did you see that time that I basically cosplayed as a porcupine? That was fun.
Right, yeah, and you know what's so stupid still? Vet, and I want to say this to you. How does the champion not be at advantage for this matchup? And I'm talking about Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy had to wrestle Mr. Zero Miedo for the right to face Moxley at All Out. Now, shouldn't the champion have the advantage? Not the disadvantage?
That was the dumbest fucking thing I ever seen.
It's
Contenders face off.
Right.
Contenders face off. Then they
Yes.
face the champion. That's the way it fucking works. It's the way it's always fucking worked. It's the way it works in every fucking sport that's ever existed ever. Contenders face off, then they face the champion. Not the champion has to face one guy so that he can then face the other guy afterwards if he happens to win. What the fuck are we doing in this company?
I've asked you this this past Wednesday, or not Wednesday, but just a couple of days ago for the skirmish, Chris. I'm going to ask you, Vet, tell me how this makes sense, please.
Well, it doesn't. But what you can do is just so if Moxley goes over, Orange Cassidy will have that many more Canadian destroyers as an excuse of why he was damaged enough to lay down for Mox. Yeah.
No, please.
All right, we're moving on. The Acclaimed with Billy are out next for a match with the former Jericho Appreciation Society. What are we calling these guys now?
Weird, bro.
Can we call them the Unappreciated?
Yeah, the Unappreciative Jericho Society.
Well, we have to call them rightly unappreciated.
Yes, we
whatever
absolutely
unappreciated as would have the connotation that you should be appreciated for something.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, listen. Daniel Garcia and that dancing is fucking over, man. That is...
I used to hate it at first, but now I'm starting to fucking love it, only because it makes me laugh. And
I don't love it,
I'm
but it's
miserable
something.
watching AEW every time I do. At least he makes me laugh.
I don't love it, but it is something, and that's more than I can say for like a bunch of people in AEW. He's got something.
Something, right? It's something. That's all that matters.
All right, this match was messy as fuck. People were kind of stepping all over themselves. There was moments where people were sort of visibly waiting to make tags. They're like literally like waiting, going, guys, Bueller. There you are. There's my tag. I don't know. The crowd, I think, wanted to get into this. I think the crowd really does like the Acclaimed. I think that they are a pretty over act. But I honestly felt at this point like Chicago crowd's pretty much fucking dead. Like Chicago crowd was like, this is fucking stupid. I'm having a hard time getting into anything, and I had a hard time too. This match took way too fucking long, and it was basically just built around a couple of suck it moments. It was like, Billy Gunn, Daniel Garcia did the suck it thing, and then Billy hit him, and then he went to his knees, and his head went in Billy's crotch. Ha 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 ha. Jokes we've been fucking seeing since 1997. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like this. Tell me if I'm wrong, but this was not anything to really care about. The Acclaimed win, an absolute shocker. Jimmy, should I have cared more?
No, you shouldn't have. And this match sucked. I'm sick of scissors. I'm sick of everything's a gimmick, including the belts. I mean, they got scissors now. Did you notice that?
Yeah, but they're pink, so Brett must love them.
They're pink too, but it's hot pink, not just Bret Hart pink, but I mean hot pink. It's even pinkier than fucking the Acclaimed. And you know what? Once upon a time, we did love the Acclaimed. I know I did. I know you did too. But now I just don't like the Acclaimed anymore, and I was still trying to figure out why the Jericho Unappreciative Society, whatever the fuck they are, have left, and why haven't we got reasons why they've left Jericho? There's no real reason, and also, why do I feel like this Acclaimed deal is just a thing to get Billy Gunn over? Like that's what it's starting
I
to
do
feel
not
like.
know. Okay. I actually still like the Acclaimed. I still hold out hope that these
But
guys
Billy,
could
come
be
on,
something
man. He's
fun.
only 60. Let's just fucking come on.
They need to take a step forward at this point.
Yeah.
Like I need something else from them. And I thought that we were going to get something else because of the whole Billy getting like taken over by the House of Black, and they whispered something in his ear and it made him quit, and maybe
Boots.
Billy was going to come
Boots.
back, and he was going to come back and be more angry, and that was going to twist something in the Acclaimed, and we were going to see something really interesting done, and it was just about Boots. It was just
It's about it. Shoes. He
It was
was
all
like,
about Boots.
I'm gonna like put a. I'm sounding like Stu Hart right now. I'm gonna. Yeah. No, but really, like about some sort of like curse on the shoe or some shit. Like, who the fuck does such a good vignette over a shoe?
I mean, it's a choice. Hey, vet. If somebody stole your boots, how evil would you become if they stole your working boots?
Pretty evil. You know, they provide a lot of ankle support, and I certainly wouldn't want to roll them in the ring, so I could see myself turning pretty evil. I just like to point out that I like how, because of his Australian accent, when Jimmy says either hot or heart, it sounds the same.
Yeah,
Really? Are you
Hot.
giving shit to my accent, Vet?
hot.
Hey,
I'm just stating. I'm stating a. Tell me when I'm telling lies, Jimmy.
touche, Vet. Touche. Fucking hell. I got nothing to say to that.
Yep.
Literally, you got me there. You got me, Vet. That was
Moving
fine.
on.
Well played,
And
well
also
played.
Bret Hart and Britt Baker have the same first name. That's fun.
Wait, what do you?
Brit
wait,
and
wait,
Brit.
wait, wait. Are you saying that that's how I say it?
That's how you say it, Jimmy.
I can distinguish between Brit and Brett. All right,
Okay.
come on.
Yeah,
now.
but you have
As
to.
long
You have
as
to
he
try.
slows
You have to
down.
try really hard, though.
Yeah, as long as he
Wow.
slows down, he can do it. That's
you
good stuff.
bricks. I'll get used back for that one.
All right. Well, next up, the Dark Order are still a thing somehow.
Ugh.
I don't know why.
Shit, I'm done.
But they really want to get the ROH tag titles, which apparently they have a shot at because they won something Friday.
Mhm.
Jimmy.
They want a
What does that
tag
mean?
team battle royal.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's right. That's what they won on Rampage. Right.
Right.
And-
Which I'm absolutely certain was called a tournament in a fucking vignette on Wednesday, by the way. They were going to have a tournament.
You're right. You're
Not a
right.
battle royal.
It's a one-match tournament.
Fuck.
One match tournament. I have to think about that for a second. Not even round robin, right? Vet, actually, I'm going to ask you this. What's
Sure.
the obsession with AEW and tournaments and battle royals? Like, why every second week? I
It's
feel
a
like there's
Japan
one of-
thing.
Not even Japan.
Fuck
Do this.
you. Well, maybe we should
on
just move
fire
on.
tonight.
It's not gonna get. It's not gonna get no better than that. Let's just move. Let's just move on. Next match.
True.
We'll take the pop and move on. All right. Ricky Starks is backstage. He's upset and he says he's going to beat Danielson. Well, kind of hope that's his mindset. I don't know what to say. Moving on. Aussie Open come out next, and they're going to take on the team of Commander and Nick Wayne. So never mind CM Punk. The company's saved. We're definitely getting 1 million views. We've got Commander and Nick Wayne versus Aussie Open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey,
Yep.
you know what? I will say this, actually. Aussie Open kind of looked alright in this match. I actually didn't mind with some of the shit they were doing. But other than that, why is Commander on 3 times a week now in AEW?
Because he's over,
Really?
bro. That's
Is
how
he?
you're gonna get 1 million viewers. So you just keep
Is he
putting
over
Commander
the
out there.
hill?
He's 24 years old, man. He's got lots of time left.
Yeah, well, where's Gravity? I want to see more Gravity.
We're
now.
gonna see Commander for at least like 2 more decades in AEW. Jimmy, strap in, get ready.
But who's the Commander? Is it Commander? Like,
It's not Commander like like he's commanding an army, because that's with a C. He's Commander with a K.
what does that even mean?
Who the fuck knows? Anyway, yeah, tiny skinny dorks against a team so bland that nobody even boos them is how I wrote this down. So great.
Oh, look at Todd. Aussie. No.
That's right. See, that's why Todd's the comment king. At one point in this match, the Australians hit like this huge double team move where the dude did like it was like a power bomb into like a pile driver. And so he does the power bomb into a pile driver on a guy who's about 113 pounds. And after that, he stands up and plays to the crowd.
You should be going for the pin, right?
Pin!
But
Fucking... what are you doing? If wrestling isn't a competition, what's the fucking point of it? We're just doing cool moves to show you cool moves on television. Look at my cool moves. This, to me, when I see shit like this, Vet, I gotta be honest with you. Like, as a wrestling fan, and I consider myself a wrestling fan, when I see stuff like this, where people are doing fucking cool moves for the sake of cool moves, it's like when my kids were like 2 and they would take like a real big shit and they'd be like, Daddy, come see my poop. Come see my poop. It's big. Right? And they were real proud of themselves because they had made a poop and it was big or it was colorful or whatever the fuck, right? Whatever goes on in the mind of a child to show me their poop. That's what I feel like when I'm watching people do really cool moves and then not even bother going for a pin.
Your kids sound like wrestlers. Are you related to Brian Pillman in some way? So
I feel a little bit like a loose cannon today, and I'm sorry for that. But I am fucking.
Don't ever apologize for that.
I mean,
Never apologize for that. We need it. We need it, dude. People don't tune into HMG to hear everybody be nice. Okay, so, and I'll continue that trend. What you just described, like just the one sequence you described, is basically a microcosm for Aussie Open in general. They are very, very, very bad at what they do. They are fucking dangerous. They are rotten, and they don't know anything about actual tag team wrestling or wrestling, period. They think that you just get in the ring and try to do the craziest thing that could possibly hurt themselves or somebody else. That's all they ever do. I know, Jimmy, you said you liked them in the past or whatever, but they're terrible. I'm sorry. It's not that they have no potential or whatever. They just clearly had nobody ever teach them what the point of what they do is. And you illustrated an example of it. I could illustrate you many more examples of it. It's like when they get in there, it's like a nonstop, exhibition of moves. Like they're running drills almost. They barely tag. It's like there's not. They don't even know what a tag match is. They just both get in there whenever they feel like it and do whatever they feel like. And I can't believe people agree to it. I'm like, bro, you're not giving me no like avalanche powerbomb pile driver or nothing like that. No, hell no, I ain't doing that.
Avalanche.
Yeah. No, and if you do manage to convince the person that you're in the ring with to do an avalanche powerbomb pile driver, the finish can't be a roll up.
Well, that's what's in, Chris. Roll up city right now, man. Especially in 2023, the roll up is the go-to.
Yeah, I thought you were a wrestling fan, Chris. That's a wrestling move. Come on, bro.
81,000 people in the fucking arena in Wembley. The biggest fucking match, the biggest main event in the history of pro wrestling. The finish is a goddamn motherfucking roll-up. Man. This
Inside cradle.
Remember they used to call it a small package?
Yes. Yeah.
They don't call it anymore. When was the last time you ever heard that? I haven't heard that.
Well,
in years.
they're trying not to insult anyone by calling it a small package.
I guess.
Anyway, the Australians win a match, I guess. Nick Wayne is upset afterwards, but he's not as upset about losing the match as much as he's frustrated with Darby Allin for forgiving AR Fox. So,
well,
out comes Darby Allin.
At least.
Um, and literally as soon as he said, I'm frustrated with Darby Allin, literally as soon as he said that, all of a sudden we hear, uh, Nick, Nick, Nick from the back, because Darby Allin already has a microphone. Apparently, he knew exactly what was going to be said afterwards and was waiting backstage with microphone in hand so that he could come out for this segment. So, great. Darby comes for a chat. Darby talks about how he had a problem with Nick's dad, and they fought, and they didn't talk for 3 years. Probably what happened is his dad told him to learn how to cut a promo properly. This was awful.
Who, Buddy Wayne? You talking about?
No, I mean Darby.
That's the
I
dad's. That's the dad's name.
Darby sucked in this fucking segment. He was truly terrible. Like, did not come across as anything other than completely bland, generic, like nobody in this story. And of course, someone's dead dad was mentioned, so out comes Christian for the greatest connection in professional wrestling. Christian and dead dads.
The dead dad killer, if that makes any sense.
Just
It doesn't. But it's AEW. Of course it does. Come on.
all right. So Christian comes out and he says that he was rude last week to Nick Wayne. Nick, I'm sorry I was rude to you about your dad, and it was rude of me not to ask about your mom. Haha. Christian is actually fucking money. I don't care. Like even with how I was feeling at this point in this show, I was just like, Christian's so good. Like he's so good at this. Even though the gimmick right now is basically, haha, you have a dead dad. Like,
dude,
that's pretty easy to get heat, I think. But Christian does it in a way that's so fucking entertaining.
Dude, someone put a video package of all the times he's destroyed people's dead dad, and I didn't realize how many times throughout 2023 he's brought up someone's dead father, dude. It's not just the last 3 guys. He's done it at least 6 times.
It's awesome. Every time somebody's dad dies, there's Christian. I can just picture Christian tomorrow night coming out and cutting a promo and being like, "Hello, Chicago. So, I've heard your father died."
Oh man. Yo, Jimbo. And literally, I'm gonna say, yo, Jimbo. I hope you're wrong, bro. It's like straight up, I hope you're wrong. If he's super over in 2 years, that's it. Like you said, Vet, before, we're done. We're gonna get more Jungle Boys, and I feel like Nick Wayne's gonna be another Jungle Boy, literally.
2 years from now, book it. We'll have Jungle Boy versus Nick Wayne for the AEW Championship in front of 81,000 screaming fans in Wembley.
Yeah, 81 only. Like,
and then as soon as they come back to America, they'll have 600 people in the next arena. So good for them.
Wow. You know what? As much as I want AEW to like stick around, and I truly do, right? It would be kind of interesting, right, to see them just absolutely collapse. I mean, almost TNA levels. I mean, you know, at one stage TNA was here, and I mean, and Impact is right here, right now. It's just not the same in every sense, but we'll see. But this company is worse. I think, honestly, think back to all the promotions over the years. I didn't think there's been a quicker rise and in some ways fall like AEW right now.
I don't know that they ever really rose, to be honest with you. They've been sort of stuck at where they've been. I mean, 800,000 people.
First year. Right, exactly. But their first year, there was a lot of hype, you know what I mean? Now it's just...
Yeah, there was hype. There was potential. It's just like Collision, right? When it first started, I said, and I honestly still believe that this is true. If they would have been consistent with Collision, as a really good wrestling show and actually put out good professional wrestling, I think it would have taken them a year and they would have had better ratings even on Saturday than Dynamite. Because real good professional wrestling is going to get word of mouth, and you're going to get people who used to be professional wrestling fans who are being told by their friends, no, dude, I'm telling you, this is different. This isn't that silly shit that we don't want to watch anymore and that looks like fucking crap every time we try to turn it on or whatever. Every time we're flipping through Monday Night Raw, we see something that looks terrible. Like, I'm telling you, this is really good professional wrestling. I really believe that within a year they could have had better numbers than Dynamite, even on Saturday. But they can't fucking do it.
And they won't. That's the sad part.
Because you can't just clone Jay White and have 16 of him in your company. And if you could,
We used to
things
say
would be
that all
much
the time.
better. All right.
Me and Jago used to say that, actually, literally.
Fuck. Well, I'm now agreeing with Jargo about Japanese wrestling, and I feel terrible about
We
myself.
got him, Vet. He's finally turned,
Heh.
dude.
All right. Next up here, Claudio Castagnoli is backstage with you, Jimmy. He's hanging out with you. After
You
your,
guys
but
are
it was
killing me tonight.
from your match Wednesday that you had.
Oh, God.
I gotta say, Jimmy, those uppercuts that he hit you with, they
That was
look like
fucking
it hurt.
savage. they were pretty full on, man.
Yeah,
And
he was
no,
like,
they didn't hurt. Please.
Claudio was like, yeah, you beat Wheeler, but do you think that means anything to us? We beat
Trust me.
Wheeler all the time. And I just went, yeah, this is getting a little gay.
Claudio
Little
ain't got
homoerotic.
shit on Punk, put it that way.
Anyways, yeah, so Wheeler got hit with a couple of clotheslines, but that's just how they do it in the BCC. Claudio says, Eddie, it doesn't matter. And yeah, whatever you do doesn't matter, Eddie, because you're fat and gross and whatever. Q Fat Edbert, who's backstage teaming with Holy Head Shibata.
Oh, boy.
And
This
I
is
guess they set up a
embarrassing.
tag match. They set up a tag match.
Wait,
So
wait.
it's
You're
going to be
missing a
Claudio.
certain spot.
So
Remember?
Jimmy, you're finally going to get a match against Shibata. That's got to be exciting for you.
European Uppercut City. No, but you missed the part with Shibata and the... What did you have? A phone?
A cell phone.
And what did it say again? I
You're
accept.
a bitch.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You're a bitch. That was so dumb, man. Come on. You telling me Shibata can't just say, you're a bitch? Like, why did they have to... Like, whose idea
You
was
are
that?
a bitch. Is exactly how it would have sounded, and it would have been just fine.
I've been calling him Ciabatta for years, media. Just quietly. It's good bread too. Just saying.
Anyway, good luck at the pay-per-view, Jimmy. Hopefully you can get that win over Shibata. I don't care. We're not talking about this anymore. We're going to move on. There's a recap from All In again, and Saraya winning, and then Ruby attacking Statlander. Saraya is happy for herself. She really likes being the champion. Shocker.
And ironically, she won it at All In because everyone was all in with Saraya at one stage, right? I mean,
at least a few people at a time. Yeah,
all in, and then they went all out.
it's true. Anyway, Ruby also is backstage with Saraya, and they're all good. And it looks like Toni Storm isn't out of the Outcasts. I was pretty sure she said she didn't trust them anymore last week. I'm pretty sure on Wednesday, actually, she said, I can't trust Saraya and I can't trust Ruby anymore. And
Not anymore.
but no, I guess she's still there.
They're besties again, aren't they? Aren't they all good now?
Yep. Funny line. Ruby said, Toni is just fine. Okay. I'm pretty sure I saw her half naked throwing shoes at birds tonight, but she's fine. She'll be fine. Okay. This whole Toni Storm thing, because I've seen people talk about it, Vet, and I want to give you an idea of what they could do with this that could be really fun with it, right? So they're doing this whole 50s starlet thing with her, right? That's sort of what she's going with. She's got the weird hair and she's coming out sort of dressed in like a nightgown and stuff, right? She looks like a 50s
Yes,
starlet.
I get the reference, yes.
Okay. I think that if they want to actually get something out of it, they should do vignettes in in the style of like a film noir, right? Where Toni Storm is she's the damsel in distress, but she realizes that she can't trust a detective and she has to become her own detective, right? So you see a 30-second video of her, film noir, and it's those boards that have all the strings to like the things, right? It's like a picture of the main bad guy or whatever, and there should be
Yes.
strings going to Saraya, and that's basically how you get something out of this character, right? It doesn't have to be long. 30 seconds, like I said, that's plenty of time for a video, right? To me, if you want to get something out of this character, you do something like that. Because what they're doing right now is basically just her hair's funny and she throws shoes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah. That idea about the film noir thing is the shits. I don't want to see it. So they should probably just do this thing they're already doing, but just do it better than that. and give her somebody to work with.
Well, if they could give her somebody to work with, and the thing is that they're trying to do this thing where, okay, I'll get into it later with the women's match actually, because that happens and I have to talk about it. All right, so Tony Schiavone is in the ring again. Thanks, Tony. And he calls out Dennis Rodman, who comes out and looks 65 years old. How old is Dennis Rodman?
It's like 65.
He's about 65. All right. So
he's about as old as DDP was when he wrestled him back at WCW.
Yeah.
Tell me when he's telling lies.
Yeah. All right. Tony asks what Rodman is doing in AEW, and before he has a chance to speak, thank God, Jeff Jarrett and the family come out, and Jeff compares all of the people in the ring to Dennis Rodman. He says Satnam Singh is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Ha ha ha. He says he compares him to everybody else. The punchline is, "My wife looks great in a dress, and so do you, Dennis."
That was funny.
Because Dennis Rodman, like 25 years ago, he dressed in a dress, and it was a thing 25 years ago. Did you know that 25 years ago, Dennis Rodman was like a popular sports figure? 25 years ago, by the way, 25 years ago.
How long?
Anyway, 25 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, this was, I don't know, exceptionally stupid. Jeff asks Rodman if he wants to join up, and Dennis Rodman says it's the first time in the United Center in 13 years. Apparently, saying an entire sentence was too much for Jeff, who says, "I don't want to hear any of that shit. Are you joining or not?" And then little bald man Sanjay Dutt tells everybody to get out of the ring, and I can handle this, guys. I can handle it. He's too intimidated with everybody else in the ring. He'll be much more amenable to joining when it's just tiny me and him in the ring. Dennis Rodman shoves him, I guess. Is that what we're calling it? And then, yeah, there's some bullshit, and the Acclaimed make the save to set up a four-way at the pay-per-view where it will be Double J Lethal, that whole group, and the Acclaimed and Dennis Rodman.
Yes. Can't wait to waste $60 on that.
What the fuck?
I'm all out, baby. Literally all out.
I'm all out too, and that means I'm not watching it. Vet,
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
I think Jeff Jarrett has designated or either designated himself or been designated to step in front of every bullet for all the talent, and just like whatever's the worst idea they're about to have on the show, he's like, I'll take it. You can't bring me down any farther than I've already been. So whether that's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre match or this, like whatever's the worst idea anybody in AEW has, Jeff Jarrett will throw himself in front of it to save the young talent. And those are the kind of great, legendary workers that we need. We need those selfless people to make those sacrifices for the young talent so that we can get that Nick Wayne and Jack Perry main event in the future.
Can't wait. You know what? Ain't he great, though? I mean, seriously.
Ain't he?
Oh, Jimmy.
Ha
Ha!
Lot of chatter. Lot of chatter. Dennis Rodman coming back to the ring for the first time in years. Lot of chatter.
Yes, man. A lot of chatter, Vet. In fact, it was on the local news here in Australia that Dennis Rodman is coming back. Yeah, to wrestle in Chicago. I'm kidding, though. Quietly. Just in case you guys were actually like,
Yeah, well, anyway, Chris, the less said about this, the better. And I think the reason that they didn't have time for Dennis Rodman to say anything is because I think ever since the Aussie Open match, they probably went too long doing double team moves to Commander, so they had to shorten up everybody's segment after that, so they left enough room for Jay White and Dax at the end.
Yeah.
Who, Daxton?
Yeah, Dax. It was Daxton accompanied by Cash Cashin, or was it Wild Wildson? I don't, I forget which. But anyway.
Wildson.
Wild Wildson.
Cash Wilder. or something.
Cash Wilder,
Um,
yeah, Willy Wonka. I don't know. Just for whatever. So the point is, I think Aussie Open went too long, and they had to shorten everybody else's shit.
Yeah. Right. It's not like the pay-per-view where you've got infinite amount of time and you can give Cash Cashton and Dash Daxton as much time as they want against Nick or against against Mark Jackson and his brother Mark. Yeah. All right, moving on. Shane Taylor cuts a promo for a match that is, I guess, going to happen at All Out against Samoa Joe. So I don't know who Shane Taylor is, guys. Who
What?
is Shane Taylor?
You don't know who Shane Taylor
Who's
is?
Shane Taylor?
Really?
Nope. I watch AEW and WWE. Who the fuck is Shane Taylor?
Well,
Ring of Honor legend, actually.
yeah, we're talking. How do you even answer that question? Like, how do you tell somebody who
How do you
doesn't
not
know?
know him?
We're trying to get this in under 2 hours, Chris. We can't tell you who Shane Taylor is in 20 more minutes. You're just going to have to trust that Shane Taylor's the fucking man. And he's earned a television championship shot on that show that nobody's watching except for me. So I can tell you that as I fast forward literally every segment until I get to Athena's segment, and then I watch, maybe if Shane Taylor does a promo, I might watch that. But I'm just saying, he's earned this off screen, so he'll be facing Samoa Joe.
Very good.
Off
So
screen,
apparently we're having the same problem that they
wait.
have in AEW, which is that they don't have enough time to show me who the fuck Shane Taylor is, just like we don't have.
This promo is supposed to show you who he is.
Yeah. And just
Yeah.
Quality Media M5
fat
and
dude.
Zane Vicious.
Cool.
We're being sarcastic. Yeah. It's called sarcasm. Just
Yeah, we're being sarcastic. Shane Taylor's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen other
really,
people say
really.
Shane Taylor's good. I just
Yeah,
I
he's
want to
good.
know who the fuck he is.
He's Jargo's friend. He's Jargo's
He
personal friend.
actually is. He really is. Actually, they're pretty good friends too.
And I'm not saying he's good because of that. I'm saying I already liked him before I knew that. So it's fine. He used to be in a tag team with Keith Lee. They were awesome. Things have happened. They'll probably come back together at some point, and it'll be exciting for the 10 people who are watching that know about it. And then, whatever. So what's next?
He's
Friends
been
with
around. He's
Jargo,
been
so
around
he
for a long
probably
time.
likes Japanese wrestling too much, and I wouldn't like him. All right, moving on.
Oh,
Joe.
I'll just leave if you want.
Joe is backstage. He's clearly pretty pissed. Like, this actually looked like angry Samoa Joe. He was like, "To say this week has been eventful would be an understatement." Like, oh, Joe, I love you. I love Samoa Joe. Somebody said, "Oh, there's no veterans wanted to be on Collision because CM Punk was there." And I'm like, he's been working a program with Samoa Joe. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, Joe's mad, and he cuts a promo about Shane Taylor, which is more than I've heard about Shane Taylor in the entire time that I've watched professional wrestling. So thank you, Samoa Joe, for telling me everything I need to know about Shane Taylor, which is that he's going to have a match.
The bitch.
All you need to know.
All right. Moving on here. The Outcasts taking on DMD, Statlander, and Sheeta. And I actually wrote down Sheeta's name before I even saw her or knew she was in this match because I knew that's where they were going. Wrestling has become pretty easy to read. There's issues with Tony Cakes and the Outcasts. She's a little crazy, so they're trying to sort of telling her like, "Hey, will you shut up and just do your job?" And of course, there's a little bit of problems between Baker and Sheeta, who they're not happy with each other because last week Baker accidentally gave her a super kick. I mean, as you do in professional wrestling. How many people have you accidentally super kicked before, Vet?
A bunch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Plus, don't forget about the entire history of the entire company that they've hated each other up till like a couple weeks ago too. So there is that.
She was,
Pish
you don't know,
posh.
Chris, the vet used to be part of the super kick clique.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
True
Well,
vet.
Me and Shane Taylor.
Yeah. Shane Taylor looks like he could give a real mean super kick.
Oh, those
Sure
thighs.
can.
All right. So Storm wants in first, and she
Yeah.
honestly,
Speaking of those thighs, Toni Storm wants it.
Toni
Wow,
Storm.
true.
She wants in, and you know what? She did a pretty good job. And it wasn't like she was dominating, but it also wasn't like she was getting her ass kicked because she kept making constant mistakes. Although the way that her teammates were playing it, you would think that maybe she was making constant mistakes, which is a problem for me, because if you're doing the thing where your teammates are upset with you because you're making mistakes constantly and they're frustrated because you're starting to lose your mind and you're not wrestling well anymore, then that should be reflected in the ring. You shouldn't be giving as well as you get and still having your teammates be pissed off and saying that you've lost your mind and you're not wrestling properly anymore. Anyway, the Outcasts do a pretty good job of isolating the faces during the break. And right before the finish, it turns into kind of a schmoz. People are all over the place. I blame this on Chris Statlander getting tagged in and bringing everything in this match down. She is truly terrible. She might be more than a woman, but she's less than a competent professional wrestler. Outcasts win with a spray can and kick. I don't know. Vet, if you're playing the whole, your teammates are upset with you because you're not wrestling well and you're causing them problems, shouldn't you go out there and then suck?
Yeah.
Like, it looks weird that everyone's disappointed in you, but you're actually doing a pretty good job in the ring. No?
A little, maybe some miscommunications have happened here.
Yeah. I'm thinking some mistakes.
No, I wasn't. I will admit to you that I wasn't paying that close attention to this match to even notice that that's a story they were trying to tell. I just kind of had this on while I was eating my lunch, so.
I understand.
muffins?
No.
Oh, damn it.
I
should
watched
have,
this.
though.
I actually watched this on my laptop. Jimmy provided the showing for me because in Canada, no one shows Collision on TV. And because yesterday was my oldest daughter's birthday, I forgot that temporarily. So I couldn't watch it live online on TSN, which is when I usually watch it. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know. You're sorry for me. I understand your apologies. And I accept them. But so because of that, I basically had Jimmy show me the show. And so I had to watch it.
That's fine.
On my
That's
laptop.
fine. What kind of cake did you have?
It was a vanilla with like ice cream in it. It was good.
Ooh. Actually, that's nice. Yeah, I like it.
Nothing but the best for my baby. Happy birthday, Arya. Daddy loves you.
Happy birthday, Arya.
Yeah.
Does she subscribe to channelattitude.com?
She should. Fucking lazy. Anyway,
her allowance just goes straight into
channelattitude.com. As you should. See, I'm a good father. All of you listening, this is what good parenting looks like. You just pay for a subscription for your child to have channelattitude.com, and you do not vet anything that they listen to at all. Just let them listen to everybody, talk as much shit as possible, and just go for it. That's good parenting. Adam Cole, it's on my screen next. Joy. He reads some messages from MJF to the Dark Order. And I'm reminded once again that the Dark Order are a thing for some reason.
You had probably forgotten since the first appearance. And rightly so.
I completely forgot. Yeah,
why,
completely forgot on purpose.
Are we supposed to take him seriously now? Is that what's going on? Is that the thing?
They're the number one
contenders. Didn't you hear John
Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you hear Alex Reynolds' promo earlier, Jimmy? Come on. That's as serious as it gets.
Why did he bring up MJF?
Because he wanted to get that MJF rub.
Yep.
I mean, it was unnecessary.
Hey, I actually helped train him to wrestle, and then that's why when Adam Cole was reading the thing later and said that it took him all 9 years to undo all the bad habits that he was taught there, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of shoot in that.
Maybe.
Ha.
Who knows?
Ha.
I never knew that he actually trained him, so yeah, I guess I learn something new every day. But
Create Pro has created one pro, and it was probably in spite of them. They probably showed Maxwell how to do a hip toss, and that's it, and then he had to figure the rest out, because he's certainly... And I can tell you from experience of working with people that have been associated with Create a Pro that Maxwell Jacob Friedman did not learn fuck all of what he's doing now from them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, he did not learn how to cut a
Something.
promo from Create a Pro. All right, so
Create a promo.
Statlander mad, Statlander bad. Statlander
Is she from
loud
Create a Pro?
noises. Bitches be yelling a lot backstage. I don't know.
I think she's
I don't know
from
what else to
Creative
say.
Pro, as a matter of fact. They created an alien that's not an alien anymore, though.
Yeah, that
From New York now.
that
Yeah,
exactly.
the alien from New York City.
Yeah.
Sting?
Long Island.
No, the other Sting.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Powerhouse Hobbs is in action next against local jobber GPA. Quick one here. He basically just gives him a spine buster and gets the pin. Fine. GPA then gets a chant from the Chicago crowd while other stuff is happening. So that tells you exactly how well they've built this between Powerhouse Hobbs and Miro. When the crowd is chanting GPA while you're having a brawl, it's probably a bad sign. Miro, as I said, comes down to the ring. They brawl a little bit. And then he backdrops Hobbs over the barricade, and then Hobbs slowly walks away, waving at him because Miro can't possibly figure out how to get past the barricade, apparently. He just shakes it angrily. Vet, how much problem have you had getting past barricades in the past? They're a real problem for professional wrestlers, yeah?
They're called barricades for a reason, Chris.
It's true.
Like, we wouldn't call them that if it was just very short wall. Like,
Right.
you know, they really are a barricade. There's like an invisible force field that goes up over the top of it.
Yeah, didn't you know, Chris? I mean, there's literally a force field that reaches to the arena like ceiling, and you can't go past it, and that's why Miro and his god couldn't like move the force.
Well, it's a one-way force field too. That's why when Miro went, he could go through it, but he can't. You see what I mean? It's
so he can go through it, but not over it, type of thing.
Yeah, it's one of those type of force fields. So the main event.
So there's a recap. Recap. Kenny Omega and Takeshita are having a match at All Out. Who gives a fuck? Orange Cassidy doesn't have a catchphrase, but he does apparently want to suck John Moxley's dick. So that's fun. Main event time now. We're moving on. All right, Jay White. Well,
it's time to suck Jay White's dick. Let's go, guys.
All right,
let's line up.
We're moving here. Jay White, Dax Harwood have a match.
Oh no!
Pretty good spot here early on as White lands a really hard chop and then dips right out of the ring. He's like, "Fuck this! You don't get comebacks. I'm leaving." Then the match was nothing but chops, so that's fun. Jay got a pretty significant chop at one point right before the break, and he was like legit like showing it to everybody, like, look at this fucking thing, that hurts, that I am sore now. Jay White is just wonderful.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Dax goes for pins often. He kept going for a pin after big moves. It was almost like he was trying to win a competition against Jay White, and it was a similar situation where White was similarly trying to go for pins, like they were actually trying to win a match. Vet, have you ever seen this before? This is strange. It's odd to see.
Not on this night. So I was very surprised. Yeah.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah. Shocking. Hearing Juice Robinson yell at the top of his lungs, complaining to the referee about everything, is fan-fucking-tastic. Like, it's terrible, so I love it. It's real heel work there. Like, annoy the shit out of everybody as much as possible. Good stuff.
Well, like I told you before, Chris, you've already seen everything you could see with Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson is the nice, juicy cheeseburger that you're in the mood for. Sometimes, if it's exactly what you want exactly what you want. And Jay Mignon is that perfectly cooked filet that you can savor and enjoy and take your time like a civilized gentleman or gentle lady.
Yeah.
Gentle person. There's a solid logical story here too, by the way. Something that we've talked about a lot on this program, on this very program, about how tag team wrestlers should generally win the tag team contests, and singles wrestlers should generally win the singles contests. Ooh, it's strange, but it's true. they basically tell this story, and that in tag matches, FTR seem to have Jay White's number. He doesn't seem to be able to win any tag matches because he's not a fucking tag team wrestler. But whenever Dax has a singles match against Jay White seems to have his number. It's almost as if tag team wrestling and singles wrestling are different.
And furthermore, it's almost as if Jay White has never lost a fall, whether he's in a tag match or not.
Almost.
Sure.
Jay White wins after a really solid contest here. It was a really good match. This was a very, very good match, and I had a really hard time giving a shit because I had an hour and 45 minutes of nonsense before it, and everything with CM Punk. It was hard to care, but I did come away from this finding myself thinking, all right, I don't have to completely abandon professional wrestling. There's still some pretty good shit here. So the Bullet Club beat up FTR afterwards. The Bucks make the save. The Bucks now want to shake hands, and now FTR walks away. There will be no handshaking. Fuck you guys. We don't like you. You don't like us, etc. Jimmy?
Look, the fact that Jay White was in this match, automatically I loved it. But still, in saying that though, it was a decent match. I mean, what can I say? I mean, there was a lot of fuckery still, but Jay White is a saving grace for Saturday nights, man. As long as we keep getting Jay White every Saturday, I'll continue to watch.
If I keep getting a program that's built around Jay White, FTR, Samoa Joe, I'm fine. I'll keep watching. I gotta be completely honest with you though. Like after I saw the announcement, not read the thing that came out, that was fine. I didn't care that much about that. But when I saw the announcement of, I feared for my life and the life of everyone in Wembley because CM Punk and Jack Perry were pushing each other, there was a moment there where I thought, okay, if I wasn't podcasting, this is where I would just take a little break. just walk away.
You actually said that to me, actually. Yeah.
Just walk away, and I would just focus on my books, and I would just write, and I would not give a shit about pro wrestling for about a month or two, and then maybe somebody would say, oh, did you see that awesome Kevin Owens match? And then I might come back to watch, and I might not for a little while. But damn it, Jay White and FTR are still really good, so I'm going to be back next week. Vet, what did you think of the main event?
It was a fine main event. It was the only thing I paid attention to, really. The rest was kind of being watched in double speed. Did you catch when Cash Cashin did this real quick on the?
I was gonna say that
out?
too.
You got it. You got it. You saw it, Jimmy. Okay, yeah. Did it real quick just to get it in. It's interesting. I like that because you see there's people that walk that line between both worlds, right? Like they're guys that like clearly FTR and Bucks really don't have an issue with each other than the peripheral players that they just don't agree with. But personally, it seems like they're fine. Jay's another guy that seems like it's unaffected and goes back and forth. There's a couple guys like that don't seem to have heat with the other camp, and they're just kind of free to do as they please. So, maybe now that I don't know, it'll be interesting to see those little things, like pay attention to those little details or like people's little lines in their promos to see if Punk's excising will exacerbate or sort of settle down those tensions that have been sort of going on. But the only thing I didn't like about the match was, he hit the Blade Runner on the concrete. That should have been the finish. He should have just rolled him in and pinned him. He certainly should not have had the wherewithal to give him an inside cradle, if we'll call it that. Although it was a nice near fall because for a second there I was like, oh my God, are they going to do this? And they didn't. So that was good. But it was bad that he did it at all. If you wanted to give him the desperation, like I just barely got my shoulder up and then I have to get scraped up with a spatula and get the finisher hit on me one more time. Okay, yeah, but no small packaging after a concrete finisher. Don't do it. So other than that little detail, I pretty much liked it. You talked about the powder, Chris, If Jay White had a 5 moves of doom, one of them would assuredly be the powder. It's an actual maneuver for Jay. And it's just a testament to his skill that he can get the powder over as a move. I can't tell you how many matches I've seen where the bell rings and he just rolls out. It's so good. And you expect it to happen every time. And every time you expect it to happen and it happens, you are never disappointed. You will never say, oh, there he goes powdering again. If you're a smart wrestling fan. If you're not, then it gets the heat that it's supposed to get. And then you complain and say, I don't see why everybody thinks Jay White's so good. All he does is powder. You know, that's how you know he's good at his job. So, or like Jargo pointed out, Jimmy, when he said, you're not supposed to think Bang Bang Gang is cool. You're supposed to be annoyed by that. You're supposed to hate that. He knows what he's doing. He always knows what he's doing. And unlike MJF, who's the other great heel, Jay does not do it in the cartoonish, ridiculous way that MJF has prone to do at times. No, that he leaves that up to Juice Robinson. Right. And then everything else he does, it seems like something a person could conceivably do if they were an unbelievable douchebag. So he's probably not going to be in any dinner musical segments, but he will try to get some heat. So there is some hope left. But there are far fewer Jay Whites and CM Punks and, you know, FTRs and everybody else, sadly, than the majority of the rest of them. So future's still not looking as bright.
There's an awful lot of Daniel Garcias in AEW. We'll just put it that way. And I mean, the kid's not a bad wrestler. I haven't seen him do stuff that's super dangerous, but he's just, who the fuck cares? There's nothing to him. The only thing he has is that dance. Anyway, overall grades for the show. Jimmy, we'll go with you first. Overall grade for Collision this week.
Man, I'd say a D+, and it would have been an F if it wasn't for Jay White for me, man. So yeah, excuse me, I'll say D+. All
right, good deal. Vet, letter grade for the night.
A D+ is fair. A C- might also be fair, depending on which way the wind blows. I might go with either, but again, like Jimmy said, the grade is all for Jay. Whatever letter grade they get, he has provided them.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and agree with all this. I was going to say F+, and the only reason why it's not just a failure. Okay, but realistically, we'll go with, I'll say a D-. Just not a great show. Obviously, everybody in the crowd was pretty much down and out to start with. This was an awful way to start the show. And yeah, Jay White and the FTR were great. Everybody did their job there properly. Everybody else was who gives a shit. Somebody in the chat said AEW Daniel Garcia equals WCW Alex Wright. How dare you, sir? How dare you besmirch the name of Alex Wright? He's a much better professional wrestler than Daniel Garcia.
From this to that, you know what I mean?
All right. Well, Vet, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me at, let's see, everywhere on HMG, really. You might find me on the Monday Locker Room. You might find me on Wreckage. You might find me anywhere. But you'll certainly most likely find me on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern with Big Ray Hernandez for the Next Level Wrestling Review. Thank you very much, Jimmy, for stepping in for me when I was away. You and John, yes, and thank you, Chris, for stepping in for me on my other show that you may have seen me on, which is every Monday at 6:30 Pacific p.m., 9:30 p.m. Eastern. That's the Impact Attack with Brandon, and you and Brandon had a great show, Chris. So thank you very much. Even though I popped in at the end to say hi, but I'll tell you again here. And you can find me at Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms, including is Twitch a social media platform? I don't know, but I'll be going on there as soon as we get off of here. So come and hang out with me a little bit more. I'm planning on playing a little bit of River City Girls 2 with our own Jerome Hall. So we're looking to hook that up, a little collaboration, if you will. So come hang out, and you can ask me more about Jay White and CM Punk and everything else.
Right on. Becoming a wonder triplet with Jerome. Detective T, where can the people find you?
Detective T, I like it. I should change my handle to Detective T. Well, you can find me on the X, just like Daxton did, or whatever his name is.
Wildson?
Wildson. Cashton, Daxton, but more importantly, at DJ Massive Fixin on the X or the Twitch, the Twitter, whatever it is. See, already Elon Musk is confusing me, but also please like and subscribe at channelattitude.com, where for $5 you get the best talk in all of pro wrestling, not just myself, but not just Chris, but the vet, how he's taken over all of channelattitude.com, where you can find him on practically every show. Also, the pwcnetwork.podbean.com, where you can find all our other shows, including the Machismo and the Skirmish and everything else. And finally, but not least, HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com, where you can find all our affiliate shows. And that's a wrap.
Right on. Well, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at ChrisAmbs1, where you can go there. You can see everything that I have to say about pro wrestling, politics, and whatever the hell else comes to my mind. You can find me on the PWC Network. I'm at multiple shows there, but mostly, and most importantly for me at least, the Wednesday night skirmish, my baby, the original, the first thing that we really came out of the gates with on that network, and it's something that is still going strong. You can find a pretty cool Monday Night Machismo actually this week, where Media M5 joined our very own Detective T. He's very excited about that. We're very excited to have you on, Media M5. Thank you for being there. You can also find me right here on channelattitude.com for this show, the Smack Attack, and Rampage Uncaged every week. But most importantly, please do not forget, everybody, I'm going to keep reminding you of this every single time anybody asks me to do plugs. 10 o'clock Central Standard Time in the morning, Sunday, after the collision, we sift through
The Wreckage.
The Wreckage. Thank you. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys were on fire today. We had a hell of a chat going all day. And thank you for being a part of the show, everybody. Tune in next week as Tony, and Tony continue to bring us all of the best professional wrestling on Saturdays. And you too can, along with us, sift through the Wreckage. Thanks, everybody. Ole.
Peace.